Okay, we are back. All right, that was a really, really great discussion. Again, big thank you for the experts joining us. There was, I think, really, really practical tips as well. You have to have a presence, right? Virtual online world. There's nothing else, but there's also still a lot of challenges going on in the region, maybe even more than opportunities. Having said that, what we see today is proof how many great social businesses are popping up anyway and actually also creating an industry in the region. But of course, there's challenges. No question there. And last but not least, as the times we're living in brings it anyways, you also have to be prepared to a lot of uncertainty and up and downs and roller coasters and so on. But it's still worth it, right? If we look at all these examples, and there's a lot of people out there looking for good ideas in social economy. I think Neven also mentioned that the trend in general is towards consciousness in people when they are buying stuff and so on. So I think it was, and hopefully for you guys out there as well, really, really, guys and ladies, of course, really, really useful. And I thought it was amazing.
Exactly. And I think it was a great bridge into what follows next. We are now already onboarding few more people into the Tech for Good category. And as for every other category, we will start it with artist performance. This time I will spend a little bit more time in introducing the artist, simply because this artist is actually not a human being. The artist for this performance is someone, thing, something. I'm not sure which actually pronoun to use, but right after the video we will have a chance to talk to one of the team members who will be able to tell us a little bit more of the story behind this artist. With that, over to you, Anya. Please play our artist performance for Tech for Good.
So Melanie, you're part of you're involved with these robots, right? So
Yes.
so what's the name of the organization behind the
So as you see, it's about robots, and our name is Robo Wunderkind. We are actually based in Vienna, and we were founded 2014 by Anna, our founder, female founder. And yeah, we create and develop STEM toys, so robotics, educational robotics toys for children, 5 to 12 years. And Anna came up with the idea because she saw that there's a gap between childhood and technology, and she wanted to close it to give kids the possibility to learn coding and at the same time, because it's proven, coding improves cognitive skills, creativity, problem solving skills, and so on. And yeah, then she and her co-founders came up with Robo, and now a lot of kids play with Robo Wunderkind. We have different sets, and we are even available in some schools around Europe, schools and kindergartens. So yeah, and our mission is to sell more and to make children happy by playful coding.
Nice, wonderful. And have you had a chance? I'm sure that you had a chance to actually experience one of your main users, which is probably a child, engaging with it. So, what do they normally do with it? Do they program some software for it, or what do they do?
So, of course, depending on the age, like the older ones, they go a bit further. Right now, we still have 3 different apps, which you could also separate into different levels. But actually, end of this month, we will launch a new app, so which all 3 levels at once. And yeah, kids usually try, they build robots, cars, flashlights. We also have sensors so that the robo can detect if it's light or dark. It can follow lines, actually. It can talk, make noises. And I mean, you will see in a bit. Yeah, so yeah, actually, my imagination is so bad. And when kids come up, they build mills, they build spaceships. It's crazy, actually. So that's the cool part. Yeah.
I think we heard about so many inspiring products today. So I think that anyone who's preparing to do some shopping for their family, has a lot of inspiration. Yeah. Make sure to leave the links where people can find out more about the products and about the organization and how they can follow your work. And thank you for joining us today and also for sharing this video with us. Great.
You're welcome.
Then we would by now, I think that everyone learned this practice. I would say we go back to the studio so that we hear about what's coming up in this third and last category for today. So we see you all in a bit. Back to studio.
Hi.
Thank you for joining that with us. I think it's really, really important that the connection is made out there, because technology is the big trend anyway, and Tech for Good, our category, we believe is the future. And that's why we are going there now to our third voting. There was 3 cities again. Bistra, maybe you can tell us who is in the lead or who has won this voting.
So in this poll, we have Prague with 48%, Pristina with 30%, and Warsaw with 21%. So I think we have a very clear division. We go first to Prague, then to Pristina, and then to Warsaw. Exactly. But we are going to do it a little bit differently, or let's say the same as we did the previous categories, right?
We promise to be flexible, so we will stick to the last 2 procedures we had, and we will watch the videos so you can meet all 3 entrepreneurs in the videos, and then based on the order, based on the winning order, we will invite the entrepreneurs on stage to tell us their story. So let's go and start with Prague.
Česká republika je jednou ze zemí, které v sociální ekonomice uplatňují velice silný přístup z dole nahoru. Což znamená, že sociální podniky jsou založeny často na dobrovolnických iniciativách občanů, anebo vznikají jako spin-off z existujících nevládních organizací a společností. Koncept je bohužel stále spojen převážně se zaměstnáváním osob se zdravotním postižením. Avšak v posledních několika letech sledujeme rozvíjející se trend v kombinaci inovativních nástrojů se sociálním dopadem. Praha je rozhodně jedním z center sociálních inovací v zemi. Dokonce první konference o sociální ekonomice organizovaná v postkomunistických zemích se konala v Praze už v roce 2002. Narodila jsem se tu, vyrostla jsem tu. Brzy poté, co jsem získala 2 tituly v oboru aplikovaná informatika a začala jsem pracovat jako programátorka, jsem se dozvěděla o promarněné příležitosti nedostatku žen v technických oborech. Bylo nás tam málo. Moje vášeň pro sociální podnikání začala tedy v roce 2014, kdy jsem založila organizaci Čekitas, jejíž cílem je inspirovat ženy a mladé lidi k tomu, aby se věnovali technologické kariéře a vybavila ta organizace digitálními a technickými dovednostmi, které k tomu potřebují. Od té doby jsem zahájila mnoho projektů, které spojují právě vzdělávání a technologie. Ahoj, já jsem Dita a ráda vás přivítám v Praze.
Now with us is Dita, who is representing the, I would say, Prague ecosystem, right? I mean, I'll let you correct me if needed, but I'm curious to hear more about your projects. I'm sure that everyone else is. So Dita, the stage is yours. So please tell us more about what you do.
Thank you so much. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Greetings from Prague. My name is Dita again, and my passion is technology and helping people better adapt to the professions of future, and so they can create the world around us, including women and other underrepresented minorities, because technology is really changing the world around us. There are a number of studies that predict how much work will be lost due to automation and robotics, like 50% or 60%. We don't actually know, but what is clear and is happening right now in front of our eyes, the nature of the work will change. Likewise, the requirements of the skills we need to perform our work today. And not only the work, but also the way how we do communicate, shop, and today also how we exercise and watching movies. Remember, do you all remember how did you spend your free time now and before COVID? I actually don't. So it has changed so much. So what I'm saying is that everyone, including women, need to learn at least digital skills. And it's not longer a choice. It is a survival skill. But there's only 17.9% of women working in tech in the European Union, and actually only 10% in the Czech Republic. And there are many studies explaining factors behind that, who plays a role and have a real influence on women's career. Like first, on a society level, there are many stereotypes in the mass and social media, like lack of role models or cultural norms. If you try to close your eyes and imagine an IT specialist, who is that? Is it man or woman? Exactly. And also the second part, what does the family say? Probably it's easier for a girl to apply for ICT if this is how her friends also spend her free time, and if parents are supportive and understand the potential of ICT careers. And the third one, what about companies? Do they really allow balancing family life when women are older and also are taking care of children? It all affects how girls feel. Do they feel they belong, or do they perceive the stereotypes? How resilient they are, actually. It is not an easy path, but it's totally worth it. So I'm going to tell you in 3 minutes the story behind Čekitas. At the beginning, there was a very simple idea behind bring IT closer to women, but also bring women closer to IT. I was fresh computer science graduate back then, and in 2013, I think, and I organized one day web application development workshop for women, mostly my friends. And it was a great success. We created a safe environment where the girls were not afraid to ask questions. And many of them actually, they continued their studies until they got first job in tech. What a success. So the idea actually soon attracted a strong community of leading IT specialists and experts and companies and volunteers, and gave rise to a whole portfolio of educational activities, not only one-day workshops. We also started welcoming students who do not only seek only career transit to tech, but also a general upskilling, or they wanted to learn tech to start up their own company and deliver some social good. Today, it is actually 63 of us working almost full-time in Czechitas in 8 branches in the Czech Republic, with 500 plus teachers and lecturers, and also 26,000 graduates from our courses, out of which we have hundreds of women who really transited to tech. And literally the stories of mom transiting from social work all the way to junior development. The organization sits on 3 pillars. The first, we inspire 50% of what we do. We are promoting tech education among women and youth with role modeling and hands-on informal education. It all starts. The second, we teach. There are intense reskilling courses for women and youth. And third, we help apply the received skill. It does not end with diploma. It does actually end with real application of the gained skill. So we are organizing job fairs and hackathons and mentoring programs, and make sure they meet the partner they can actually apply a job for or with. Even though we are a registered NGO, we adopted a sustainable business model from the start. We are sponsored by major tech companies who are supporting the development of the talent and are very interested in the diversity. The second, with scholarships available, we get quite some on student fees. And the third, there's fundraising from really, really amazing international CSR funds. This year, there are 30,000 students we want to approach this year. We want to create an online platform, and by 2022, we want to increase a digital literacy and interest in tech among 100,000 students. Actually, lockdown, just few words on COVID. Lockdown last year was not really easy part, but it kind of allowed us to access distant regions also. And we developed a hybrid learning formats and ended up with actually more students than we wanted to impact originally. When I look back, we would never achieved such impact without few things. So this is just my few cents for social entrepreneurs. The first, be able to adapt to whatever comes. Then be lean and be really agile. Just make sure that you use your passion, and this is really hard work. And also you build your team and make sure that you have all skills that are needed to build a social enterprise. And that's it. I'm really big fan of all yours, and good luck with every project you have on agenda.
Dita, thank you so much. Such an amazing story. Thank you for being with us and sharing it. Hey, very impressive numbers. Congratulations also on your growth during the lockdown and last year, which is not so often, I have to say, unfortunately, for a lot of social enterprises. My question is, I think that the work that you're doing does a lot of favor to the society, to the economy, also for the technology development, but also a lot of young women and girls out there. So if you would have a big billboard, right, where you could put one message so that all the girls, young women out there in the world would be able to see, what would you tell them?
IT is future, and it is yours too. This is our claim. It is everyone's future, so we should be part of it, all of us.
If I had a microphone, or if we were together in the same room, I would hand it to you so that you can drop it. I think that's a wonderful way to end the call. Thank you so much once again. And yes, please do share all the links where people can find out more information. And yeah, if some people have some questions, then they'll write in the chat and then you can get back to them. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Kosova, shteti më i ri në Evropë, prej që ka deklaruar pavarësinë e saj në vitin 2008. Kanë kaluar më shumë se 18 vite prej fundit të luftës në Kosovë dhe në këtë periudhë ka ndodhur zhvillime signifikante. Mirëpo shumë prej sfidave shoqërore, jo stabiliteti politik dhe problemet me ambientin vazhdojnë të prekin jetën tonë. Njëra nga përgjigjet efektive ndaj këtyre sfidave në vitet e fundit ka qenë zhvillimi dhe rritja e organizatave me karakter social dhe zhvillimi i inovacionit i cili po përmirëson shoqërinë për të gjithë. Zakonisht, organizatat sociale në Kosovë janë entitete të vogla, shumë shpesh shihen si organizata jo fitimprurse të cilat operojnë me mision social, mirëpo të cilat kanë krijuar programe komerciale për të ndihmuar vetë qëndrueshmërinë financiare. Çka duhet cekur patjetër është që kryeqyteti i Kosovës, Prishtina, është gjithashtu shtëpi e shumë kompanive të teknologjisë dhe bizneseve inovative të cilat kanë efekt të jashtëzakonshëm dhe vijnë nga sektori privat. Unë si ndërmarrëse kam filluar rrugën në vitin 2015 me themelimin e Akademisë J Coders dhe tash edhe Labox. Të dy bizneset kanë qëllim fëmijëve të ju japin eksperiencë relevante për të parë veten si krijues të teknologjisë dhe ta përdorin teknologjinë si vegël krijuese. Këto eksperienca zhvillojnë shkathësitë e nevojshme që fëmijët të jenë të suksesshëm në të ardhmen. Laboxi ofron plane abonimi, përmes të cilave për çdo muaj fëmijëve ju dërgojmë një pakom elektronik, ashtu që ata të mësojnë për botën e teknologjisë dhe të krijojnë projekte praktikisht, duke i pasur të gjitha materialet në dispozicion. Unë jam Arta dhe me shumë kënaqësi ju mirëpres në Prishtinë.
I am so happy to be here with you, even though I've had a panic attack with the internet connection right now. So I'm really hoping that I will be able to go through this with you. So I'm Arta. I'm one of the co-founders of Labox. Labox, at its core, wants to inspire kids for engineering because we understand that engineering, engineers, and innovation is at the heart of the future. And for kids, it is extremely important that they understand from early on that technology is a tool to create with. We are in a lucky time where, parents are very aware that their kids need to be prepared for technology. However, what we are facing with is the fact that schools and what kids are experiencing in schools, it is lacking quite a lot of hands-on and practical teachings, which open the eyes of kids to use technology as a creation. And I want to continue a little bit with my personal story. I am a mother of 3 daughters, ages 10, 8, and 5. And I started in 2015 by wanting to work with my oldest daughter to teach her coding. I'm a developer myself. I worked for 8 years in a bank as a developer and then as a software architect. And that has kind of led me to want to inspire my own kid for technology from a creator's perspective. While I was doing that, I saw that she got very excited, and I wanted to provide that opportunity for other kids too. And I'm lucky to have an engineer sister. Therefore, I wanted to, so I sat down with my sister and we created this academy, J Coders Academy, which is an after-school program that we founded and created here in Kosovo. And we taught over 5,000 kids today.
I'm just coming live just to check if it's my internet or if it's Arte's internet, but it seems to me as of now that it might be her internet connection. And as I was saying earlier, I think at this stage, all of us can empathize with these things. But now I definitely see that Arta is unfortunately out of the call. So I would then say that we move on proceed with the speaker number 3, and then we will check with Arta if maybe we can bring her back later so that she can finish her story. There was definitely a cliffhanger there.
Zainteresowanie ekonomią społeczną w Polsce nie jest nowym zjawiskiem. Już w latach 20. i 30. ubiegłego wieku pojęcie to było powszechnie używane przez polskich ekonomistów. Co więcej, Polska może stanowić ciekawy przykład do analizy rozwoju przedsiębiorstw społecznych. Posiada bogate doświadczenia w zakresie działań spółdzielczych, a także wielowiekowe tradycje działalności charytatywnej. Ponadto od ponad 15 lat tworzone są programy rozwoju ekonomii społecznej na poziomie krajowym, regionalnym i lokalnym. Tematem mojej pracy licencjackiej była właśnie przedsiębiorczość społeczna i praktycznie odkąd mieszkam w Warszawie, czyli już ponad 6 lat, w każdą pierwszą środę miesiąca uczestniczę lub współorganizuję spotkania, na które zapraszamy gości, żeby inspirować i wspierać zarówno aktywnych lub aspirujących przedsiębiorców społecznych. Z tego względu, gdy 3 lata temu firma Mudita skontaktowała się ze mną w sprawie pracy, bez chwili wahania zdecydowałam się na współpracę. Cieszę się, że dzisiaj będę miała okazję opowiedzieć Wam trochę o tym, co robimy i dlaczego. A w kilku zdaniach Mudita projektuje i rozwija elektronikę, która stawia nasze zdrowie i dobre samopoczucie w centrum. Idziemy pod prąd, ale zgodnie z potrzebami rosnącej grupy świadomych użytkowników, bo kiedy nowe technologie są coraz bardziej angażujące i wciągające, naszą misją jest oferowanie alternatywy do tej naszej coraz bardziej online'owej rzeczywistości i opracowywanie rozwiązań, które umożliwiają nam pozostanie w kontakcie z najbliższymi, ale uwalniają nasz czas, żebyśmy mogli skupić się na naszych pasjach, poświęcali niepodzielną uwagę naszym najbliższym, czy po prostu cieszyli się chwilą obecną. Cześć! Mam na imię Kasia i witam Cię w Warszawie.
So Kasia, can we hear each other?
Hey, hello.
Thank you for being with us and representing Warsaw, Kasia. So same thing applies. So for the next 5-6 minutes, please tell us about the work that you're doing in Warsaw, and see you in a bit.
Great, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Well, thanks for coming all the way to Warsaw. Great to have you here. I'm happy that today I have a chance to share with you a bit of my personal story and also to introduce you to Mudita, the company I have a pleasure to work for as a head of marketing. So to give you a rough idea of my professional background, I started working in a corporate, then moved to the so-called light side of the force, the startup world. And then I reached the point that when I go very clear that I want to join a company that is solving an important problem for me. And if I don't find one, well, then I will have to start my own. Luckily, I was found in among the thousands of profiles on LinkedIn by Mudita, and I was invited for an interview. And after that, it was an instant match. And since then, for over 3 years now, I've been working with Mudita. I joined quite at the beginning where we're defining what kind of problems we're solving, how we want to do it, what is the mission, what are the first ideas for the solutions. So right now, we're over 100 people that are working in with the common mission of creating, designing, and developing solutions, especially consumer electronic ones, that are focused on our health and well-being, meaning that we want to provide tech that is more responsible, that is helping us to be more conscious about our usage, and also minimize the negative health aspects of overuse of technology. And we all talk about technology here. I think we're so immersed right now, but there's always the time for the reflection on how does it affect our various areas of our lives. And when we think about this, technology came with this promise of saving our time, and for many inventions, it's definitely a case. However, when you take smartphones, for example, it gets more tricky. Smartphones very often works for us, but also they're one of our biggest time thieves. It is directly related to the fact that right now, for example, social media platforms are being designed by the best engineers of this world that are equipped with the growing knowledge from neuroscience and psychology fields that are giving clear instructions on how to design solutions that will attract our attention and keep it for as long as possible, since the more time we spend on the app, the more ads will be shown and the more money the advertisers will pay for to the technology firms. So this is just one of the challenges that we face nowadays with technology. And what I would like to underline here is that Mudita is definitely an enthusiast of technology, and we are not against the development of it. However, we think it's the time to redesign it, to think how we can align the development, the design of the solutions with the values, with the long terms of these users, of us, and make space for really meaningful offline experiences, and make, as I said before, our use of technology more intentional. So we're based in Warsaw, but from the beginning we've been creating the global brand, and besides addressing the issues related with health and tech usage, we also are providing the solutions that take care of the privacy and security of the data that we share online. It is said nowadays that algorithms know us better than our mothers, our partners, and they predict our behavior better than other human beings. So we think we should be also more conscious about with whom and how much data we actually share. So we want to minimize it to make it more responsible. And also when it comes to the conscious production, we're also doing as much as we can in electronics production, although it is very challenging, but we are aiming to minimize the amount of plastic we use, the waste, especially in the packaging. We are also designing the electronics with the purpose of them lasting us as long as possible, and so they will be repairable. So I just quickly outline one of the most important values for Mudita right now, and I would like to tell you what are the actual solutions and the products that we hope that will address these challenges. So internally, we are working on a wide range of products that will be able to address different needs and problems. So far, we communicated the first ones that are in the latest state of the development. So first of all, our phone, Mudita Pure, the minimalist and simple phone. I have a working functional prototype here with me. It's a phone optimized for what the phone initially was, so keeping us connected, but without the needless distractions. So it is equipped with an e-ink display, long battery life, and there's no direct internet connection on the phone. However, it is still possible to connect to the internet on your laptop, sharing your internet from the phone. The phone is still in the development phase, and we have been testing the prototype for quite some time already, and we can't wait for November when we will finally have a chance to ship the product to our first supporters. So people that back the project on our Kickstarter, on Indiegogo, and also the ones that pre-order the phone on the e-commerce. And I see Dusan is joining, so let me just add that besides the phone, we also decided to bring to life the simple alarm clock that will motivate us to get rid of the smartphones from our bedrooms, since we often use them as our alarm clocks. But that means we often just check the phone right before going to sleep or right after waking up. And that very often doesn't really influence our sleep quality. So we want to motivate us to make the bedroom the smartphone-free zone.
Kasia, this became a tradition. Very well put. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing the story of Mudita. I have to admit, I was not aware of the brand before, but I found it very impressive. It's it speaks to me a lot. You know, I also try to live my life minimalistically, so you definitely made me curious, and I'll definitely sign up to also be stay in the loop for the release of the phone. Did I understand that the Kickstarter campaign is over, or is it running, or?
Yeah, we launched the Kickstarter campaign. It's over right now. The most important step is ahead of us. So actually ship the product and to our first supporters. So the 2021 is very important for the year for us. And if I can add one more thing, I would love everyone to join our forum, sign up on our website, since besides like creating the solutions, our mission is to inspire change and to together with people come up with the technology of the future that has a chance to impact and shape the future in a more responsible way.
Nice. There are some questions in the chat. I'll pick one. I'm not sure. I'm curious to hear your answer, because it's one of these sticky questions. So Martin is asking, how do you tackle repairability of your electronics that you're developing?
Yeah, very, very good question. I would say, well, it is a challenge, but we intentionally decided to make for example, our battery replaceable as easily as that. This is normally not the standard at all for electronics for the smartphones anymore. They seal it. It's way more, it's easier to keep all the IP standards, but we decide to have it like easily replaceable, so you can even do it by yourself. That's one of the ways. Later on, we will like to also offer like spare parts, so it is possible to repair it if some parts will run out.
Fantastic. You can continue the discussion with Martin, because also Martin is kind of interested in that space.
With pleasure.
Yeah, I see that there's some more comments coming in and also questions. So
Perfect.
feel free to, or please make sure to check out the chat and also share more information there about your work. Good luck with that launch or that November milestone, and I hope the alarms will help you to stay productive until then.
Thank you so much.
Bring this to the world.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Kasia, for joining us.
Big heart now to Dusan as well. He does an amazing job as our backstage moderator, and of course also to the girls. I don't know, should we reflect maybe a little bit? I mean,
yeah, I'm very sad about Arta because of connectivity issues. She couldn't connect with us in a category called Tech for Good. But there is one thing that we could do to kind of make up for those 5 minutes on stage that she was cut off from. Maybe we can talk about our experience with Labbox. Christina actually has worked with Arta and many times not only bought her product, but also experienced the atmosphere in her academy and school and the product. Maybe you want to share something about that?
Yeah, let's maybe just add here that when I visited the office of J-coders and Labbox in Pristina, it's just like, you're entering a world on its own. It's really, really cool, because you enter and then down there is like a lab, which is basically where they test about the Labbox, and it's really, really cute because it's in such a playful storytelling way. They invite kids to learn engineering, to really connect A with B and learn what it means. And it's not only that they teach that, they also provide additional, like the paper to cut it off and to build like a torch or to build like a bell. And Bistra mentioned I ordered that already for kids of my friends, and they just absolutely love it. But that's not it. You come in, that's not it at all. You come in and there's this Labbox, but then you go up and then you enter the academy, and it's just like a world on its own. There's kids everywhere, and they are really excited and happy to learn. And it's just what they do is just the purest of social impact. On the wall, I remember there were the SDGs as well. So it's absolutely beautiful. By what Arta and as she mentioned also her sister are driven and what they build up there, and it's beautiful. I just can recommend you to check it out. It's for sure the future as well, and that's why we invited her. That's why we're still happy to have her, even though it was only for a few minutes, but exactly. I hope she will be able to connect and at least answer the questions in the chat.
Yeah, I know from looking at the backstage channel that Arta is now back, and I think she will be able to connect with people in the chat. Arta, thank you for joining back, and please stay with us at least until the end of this event, or maybe a little bit longer for the networking, so you can meet some of the attendees and share your story one more time. We did our best to really wrap up a story that started in a very powerful manner. And again, thank you for the effort to reconnect with us and be here with us. Having said that, I want to use some time to say as well, congrats to Dita and Kasia. What amazing products and stories you have. And to the three of you, the region is very lucky and happy to have you. And I really am empowered by female entrepreneurs who took this journey of tech for good. I think it has a special feeling moment, especially for me coming from the Western Balkans, where I would say there is a certain standard or pattern of understanding the role of women. I find these kind of stories from Kasia, Dita, and Arta as really breakthrough stories. And I'm very, very inspired by you.
And I mean, you know, I'm pretty sure, I mean, some of them are already on the market for a while. Some of them are growing really, really fast. Dita shared a few details as well. And they joined us here today. But I'm pretty sure if we meet again next year or the year after, and 5 years and 10 years, they will still be around. And they will have made so much impact. And I think that's the real power and the real beauty about it. So kudos to all three of them, like obviously all the other entrepreneurs as well. But yeah, I mean, they will shape, thankfully, our future.
Amazingly, yeah. And now we will move slowly into the third and last opportunity spot for today, where we again made a selection of experts, the soul and groove of social entrepreneurship, tech for good, green businesses. This time we have a combination of people coming from investor side, civil society side, quite an interesting mix of people. Gladly, I can call all of them my friends. And at the moment I get a hint that everyone is pretty ready to go live together with Dusan. So back to Dusan and to the third opportunity spot.
We are ready with all the panelists. I think that we're getting better. However, I think that this is now an interesting combo. If you were with us the whole day, the first panel, we had a moderator who unfortunately we could hear him, but he couldn't hear us. So, and I think that's kind of challenging for moderating a panel. This time, Eva will be our moderator of this opportunity space. However, Eva is struggling to turn on her video. So this will be an interesting one because then we can hear Eva, but then also we see all the other panelists. Eva, with that said, welcome. Thank you for being with us. And
yes, welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. And well, if you want to see my face, you have to go to evpa.eu.com, European Venture Philanthropy Association, and find me among our team members. You will not regret, I can tell. So, but I'm really happy that at least I can see the panelists that we have on our really short panel. So, and I think we have really great group here. So we have with us Shekelzen Marco from Social Business Balkans. I'm really happy to see you here. And some of you may know Social Business, Social Business already. They actually work through UNOS funds, through UNOS Corporate Innovation Program as well, and they provide support, finance and support to social business entrepreneurs and also help companies to engage in social businesses. Then we have with us Teresa Widmer from who is a global manager for Swiss Entrepreneurship Program. And I think it's really interesting what Teresa does because basically she is also working on strengthening entrepreneurial ecosystems to create thriving and sustainable world. And for me, what is really interesting is the geography where Teresa and the Swiss Entrepreneurship Program is operating, Western Balkans, but also in Peru and in Vietnam. So I hope we'll hear also some examples on how tech for good is being applied in those countries. And then we have with us Muney Ben Garga who is a lead at Innovation for Change Network. And as I read, and I was really curious to learn more about what you do, Innovation for Change is actually a global network of people and organizations that are working together to protect civic space and overcome restrictions to our basic freedoms of assembly, association, and speech. So really a broad spectrum of human rights where I think also Tech for Good has a lot of work to be done. So without further ado, because we have only 20 minutes to discuss with our panelists, I wanted to start with a question to Marco, to Zen. I hope you had the chance to see the presentations of the startups that were presenting in the previous session. And I'm really curious to hear, and I hope it will be also interesting for our audience, to hear your opinion as an investor. Which of those businesses was the most appealing to you, and why? Why would you consider one of those businesses to be invested in?
Thank you, and very nice to be with you. I'm talking for a subject which stays very close to my heart, social impact, and how to harness business approaches to create social impact. Coming back to your question, I listened to 3 presentations, and one of the things that it is not only in these presentations, but which I find is very usually in many of the startup teams, is that they try to do good work, but they forget that they have to sell what they are doing. And selling what they are doing is convincing other people that what they are doing is good and they have chances to achieve it. And I think I missed that point from 2 of the startups that they presented. They showed the social impact, but I didn't see any forecast about the sustainability. So they didn't say much, or they were not clear on their sustainability potential. And this is very crucial for investors. If there's not something that clearly shows that there is a way, of course, they cannot ensure that that's going to be sustainable. There is a sustainable business model, but at least they have some indications of, how much it costs, how much they're going to sell, what is they market. They talked about the problem, they talked about the solution, and that's it, and how nice our solution it is. I think this was kind of, if I can summarize the presentation. I don't know if my 2 colleagues got this message, but I didn't hear much about their potential in the market. So I will have to guess myself what is their potential in the market. One of them, I think Modita, would have, if I would kind of guess myself the potential in the market, they will have some more potential, so they will be more intriguing. For Labox, they were good in presenting their product, so I think they can elaborate a little bit more on the social problem, on the problem, customer problem and social problem, how these 2 problems link together, because not always the social problem and the customer problem, they are not always the same thing. Of course, that's better when they are together, so the customer is also the social target that we are trying to solve. While for Chiquita, I didn't really get the social problem. I didn't get the customer problem.
All right, so those are I think good hints for the businesses to prepare the next time.
I think it's difficult as an investor. I would probably, if I'm trying to be positive, I would probably attempt to go back and look on Modita.
All right. Okay.
While the 2 others, they have not intrigued me enough to go back and look for them and see what they're doing.
Okay, so that's a challenging. I can tell that Zen is really difficult investor. I imagine. But I would be curious to hear from Mune, because I imagine that the different projects that you have been working with in your organization that you have encountered, when we talk about human rights, transparency, right, freedom of speech, those are a little bit different projects than the ones that we see and that we have seen today. So it would be great to hear some of the examples from your work, from the organizations that you've been working across the globe. You can check online. It's really a truly global network. And then I think this angle of sustainability that Zen has been talking about can be interesting as well, because I can assume that in the space where you are working, this issue of sustainability can be specifically difficult when we talk about initiatives involving technology in this space.
Thank you so much, Eva. Actually, I have like the opposite impression and trigger. Actually, I think, the initiatives that were presented today is representing the new model of economy that we want to see, which is based on building relation and building communities and supporting. We've been testing and we've been working in an era of driven by profit. And I think COVID-19 is one of the crises, in addition to climate change, that is challenging how we do business and how we invest and how we look to initiative in general. So just maybe to start by your end, the question about the sustainability, from my perspective, sustainability of the models that we saw today, it's coming from moving from the transactional, aspect to more relational, to more community-driven, and there is where the sustainability is by creating a faith base in what you are providing, and the profit comes, in that building, in that step of the sustainability. From what we've been, witnessing in innovation for change and supporting all over the world, human rights can be really vague for many people. However, human rights actually, it's more, it's about your day-to-day life. It's about the comfort. It's about access to water. It's about access to electricity, access to health. And as much as people see the freedom of assembly, of expression, of association as really like norms and principles, actually they touch our direct life, and our sustainability as communities. For example, I can from the experience that we've been having under Innovation for Change Africa Hub, every year since 2018, we've been launching the We Account Challenge. So We Account is an innovation challenge where we call ideas from Africa that touch on transparency and accountability, access to resources, natural resources, using technology. We have a long list, people and innovation around tech for good. And for example, one of them, SEMA, where it is more about improving the quality of the services that the government is providing to its citizen. How fast they are, how responsible they are to their citizen. This is in itself, the model around it was created in a way that gets funded from the government, but also from the available donors, but it has its own sustainability form through providing more advocacy and selling, part of the data that they are providing to help other businesses, provide other services. SEMA is in Uganda. In Tanzania, for example, we've been using the M-Water application. It's an application that track where there is issues of water supply. And itself, this app and this technology is helping people to be notified, and also the government, about the water cuttages in certain area in Tanzania, and especially in villages. Where we are seeing a lot of use of the technology, it is one in securing people communication. And again, when you are driven by profit, you really overlook a lot of security, a lot of an ethical use of the technology. So the tech for good, or looking to the technology as an enabler, give you another space where you are being ethical. You make sure that the people data is secured. Those will be your principle to do that. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about, and it's been really developed now under the human rights agenda, is the sharing economy. The sharing economy, or the digital sharing economy, where we see a booming of how people can come together and create their own market to exchange services and ideas in a way that generates benefit for all the parties in those economies. So these couple of examples, I can go on and on, with many points that we have, but just like to emphasize that, Tech for Good, as well as looking to the people that we are working with as relational to co-design together. And I think Chiquita's doing a lot of great work in including a marginalized population, which is women and girls that are overlooked in the technology space, a space that is dominated by males. So giving a space for people to learn, and women and girls to learn, especially from an early ages, that's in itself, it's not only beneficial in terms of the social impact today, but for a future invention. So you are enabling a different category of people to be more productive in that space.
Thank you so much, Monet. I think it's, the examples you gave are very inspirational, and I've been thinking also about a couple of examples of different platforms that are actually collecting funding for different initiatives. And definitely one of the elements that works for those that put money into different projects that are there, that there are communities of people built around certain projects and around certain ideas, right? And cultivating relationships with those that actually fund your project are important to build this sustainability. So I think there is this interesting connection that we can see, that sustainability doesn't have to be always about selling and products or services, right? It can be also about building a community of people that will continuously support our activities, right? Through the regular donations, for example, right? I think that's important to note. I know some organizations in Poland, for example, working on transparency issues, access to public information, and because of the political changes, they've been cut from the funding. And thanks to the fact that they invested in building those community of supporters online, it took them a couple of years, they were able to generate on regular basis a big portion of their budget, right? That allows them to continue their work. So let's move a little bit outside of the region as well. We are moving from Africa. Let's move maybe to Latin America and Peru or Vietnam in Asia. And it would be great to hear, Teresa, from you on some of the examples of the project that you've been supporting through the Swiss program, and maybe you can share also how those issues of sustainability as well. I think because we are talking about long-term impact as well, right, which relates to sustainability, how those projects are tackling those challenges in other areas. And I would be also interested to hear whether you see the difference when it comes to projects that you've been supporting, for example, in the Western Balkans or in Vietnam or Peru.
Thank you very much, Eva. First of all, just a few sentences on the Swiss Entrepreneurship Program. We support local startup support organizations to improve their services for startups. So we only work indirectly with ventures. However, I was talking to my teams to get some examples, and the wealth was actually overwhelming. Also, our program does not have a specific focus on impact-driven ventures, but is as a program itself very open. Nevertheless, it was very nice to get, I got about 15 examples of impact-driven entrepreneurs, so it was actually also very hard to choose. And one example I would like to mention is, I think, a very interesting venture called Café Compadre. They are in Peru. And what they do, they have invented a solar roaster for coffee. And they put it in the local communities where coffee is produced. And the producers there are indigenous people. They have produced coffee for a long, long time. But in the past, they have sold the raw beans to some middlemen, and then it went on to Lima and then internationally. So the money they got out of it was very, very small. So with this solar roasters, the coffee can be processed in the local communities. So they can sell it up to 50% more, like they can just generate more money because the value is actually created in those communities. What I like about it is it is a business. It just considers who are the producers. The coffee is actually super, super tasty. And it is one of the main commodities of Peru. So I think this venture tackles a lot of relevant aspects. When it comes to what differences do I see across the regions, let's be honest, I don't think that you have many different ventures who are trying to solve the same problem, and I think that is totally fine. What I think is important that you on one hand consider like what is your competitive advantage in the country you're from, but then having a global perspective. Like don't just focus on your country, and I think especially with technology, the global floor is yours. So I think that is important.
All right, great. That is actually your last point is a great introduction into the last question that I have to all three of you, and we are really running out of time. So really quickly, your hint, Teresa, for the entrepreneurs. We have many entrepreneurs on this panel who are setting up different projects, different businesses. One thing you said, don't focus on your country, think globally, right, with technology. What would be another tip that you would have? And also Zen and Monet, please think about one thing as a recommendation that you would give to entrepreneurs, to social entrepreneurs, tech entrepreneurs that are on this panel. If they want to start their own project using technology for good, what is the one thing that they should keep in mind? One more from Teresa and from the two of you as well, please.
Only one. Okay, I tried to put it in one sentence because it has a few aspects. So I think it is important that you start defining both your impact and your market opportunity at the same time, because you will have to ask yourself very different questions. But in the end, you want to pinpoint not only to the problem, but what persists actually, and is there other people there willing to pay for your solution? So I think it's very important, don't neglect, and actually Zen has mentioned it when he was evaluating the three entrepreneurs, don't neglect your commercial viability. It is crucial. If you're not viable, if your business is not viable, there is no impact. So don't be afraid to really focus on that. And also speak to the customers to understand their reality. I go back to the Café Compadre example. I think very often impact-driven entrepreneurs, they have a solution for a population they don't belong to. So for instance, in this case, the people who produce the coffee are indigenous people in the jungle in Peru. The founders are in Lima. So it is very important that the guys in Lima understand the reality of the local producers, because otherwise the product will not be used, or it's not the right one. It will simply not work. And the last one is, I think it's super important that you share your ideas, like within your community, globally, like connect to like-minded people and share, like don't hold it back to yourself, because you will get a lot of very valuable input to make your product or idea or service just much better.
Super, fantastic. I actually made notes for myself when assessing companies as well. Zen, your turn. One.
Yeah, I will focus on one. I mentioned the sustainability, and when the sustainability means, I'm not just meaning selling, but a way how to receive enough, how to generate enough revenues, be it from charity or sales. Sales is always better, more secure. But before reaching sustainability and thinking about sustainability, please, when you start, don't start by coding, because I see a lot of tech people going straight to the coding without talking to customers. And I always tell them the story of a doctor. Nobody buys the medicine of a doctor who just, when you meet the doctor, just tries to sell you medicine before visiting you. So try to understand the problem of the customer, how that is shaped, what is the problem, what it means, what it makes them feeling, not just the symptoms, but the causes of the problem, and try to find a tech solution for the causes of the problem, not for the symptoms.
Excellent, thank you. This is a very good one. Monet, I hope all the people on the panel are making notes. I hope.
Yeah, I love like how diverse we are in the panel, because from my side, it's we should motivate a new generation of entrepreneurs that will lead the way around a more sustainable economy, sustainable earth. And I know this is sometimes too much for people to bear, but if you choose entrepreneurship, you choose experimenting, you choose risk-taking, it is in your blood and should be in your DNA. So I'm speaking to that generation. And for that, there is a fine balance between impact, profit, sustainability, but also ethics, accountability, and your community. So maybe it's not easy to find the balance. It will take time, and that is part of the experimentation. But also, it is part of the responsibility of our audience as a leader and a generation that will motivate new solutions for the issues that we are facing.
And I can see we have Dushan, that means that we have to finish. So thank you so much. I actually think that we managed to get the balance in this panel in the final conclusion, because we had a very down-to-earth, concrete suggestions. But I also think what Mona has been saying about the ethics, about accountability, about the vision and risk-taking, right? And the entrepreneurial spirit, we desperately need that combined also with the pragmatic approach. So I hope you were inspired by those examples, and Dushan is saying that we have to finish. So thank you so much, Teresa, Monet, and Zen. Great to see you here, and I hope we'll be able to talk another time a bit longer.
If I can just say one thing, I think me and Teresa are not contradicting that there is need for ethics in that, and there is need for testing. But we are just showing where to start testing, and not to start testing from the 10th step, but to start testing from the first step.
But the combination
ordering
is important, right?
So much passion for this topic.
Next time you have to give us more time.
Yes.
Agreed. Yeah,
I agree.
You can always meet up for a virtual drink, right? So,
okay.
I think we learned a lot in the previous period. Hey, I just want to do one quick thing. So, first of all, thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the panelists, for taking the time and sharing your wisdom. And also, Eva, thank you for doing this acrobatic of kind of moderating without the video. Zen, so basically, in order for me, I wanted to share my screen quickly, but in order for me to do that, I would need to kick someone out from this view because it limits to 5 people. And I'm sure that you understand that that will be you for this, what I'm about to do. So I will just
I am not visible anyway, so
no, but Eva, you need to be here. And Zen will understand, yeah? Like, so I need to still get it. So basically, what I wanted to do is to share my screen and to do the following, and that is to show everyone how Eva looks like. So for those of you who actually didn't Google it, that's Eva. And I'm saying this because Eva has been someone who definitely inspired me on multiple occasions to join this mission of trying to mainstream social impact and social entrepreneurship in the CEE. So that's why make sure to also get in touch with her.
Yeah, that's me for sure.
Yes, that's her. It's confirmed. Everyone, thank you once again so much for joining us here and for the event. And make sure to leave your contact details if you would be open for the participants to reach out to you and get in touch. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
And with that, I would then proceed to very quickly say one final goodbye and thank you from my side. This was such a fun. I learned a lot. It was very inspiring. And yeah, it was a pleasure. Thank you for also understanding all the technical challenges that we had to deal with. But it was definitely a ride for me.